Charlotte Danielson Framework for Teaching. 5 ways you can employ the Danielson Framework now. This PowerPoint describes how teacher candidates can employ the Danielson Framework for Teaching while still preparing to become teachers. This document was developed and produced by the Maryland State Department of Education through federal funds. The Towson University Teaching Modules Development Team was led by Debbie Gartland, Project Director. Also on the team were Roberta Stroh-Snyder, Val Sharp, Michelle Pasco, Lenore Chapman, Jessica Kirchen, Jessica Moore, Rebecca Malloy, and Darlene Fuster. Thank you to all the content experts and others who provided feedback on the teaching modules as they were under development, including Towson University faculty, staff, and teacher candidates, and school system and MSDE personnel. This PowerPoint is the 6th in a series of PowerPoints in the Danielson teaching modules. You do not have to wait until you graduate and have your own classroom to implement the Charlotte Danielson Framework for Teaching. The framework should be an integral part of your teaching repertoire during your internships. As you plan and implement lessons, manage the classroom environment, and continue to grow professionally, the essential teacher responsibilities are clearly outlined within this model. As well, this model is endorsed by the Maryland State Department of Education for teacher evaluation. Domain 1 of the Danielson Framework addresses the planning and preparation of your lessons. The components aligned with this domain serve as guidelines for things you should think about when designing your lesson. Look at components 1A through 1F. When developing a lesson, these are essential criteria that should be included in your plan. Let's take a few minutes to discuss why each of these components is necessary when planning and preparing a lesson. In Domain 2, the classroom environment, you can see that establishing a sound classroom environment goes beyond managing student behavior and room arrangement. All of these components are necessary to support student learning. As a teacher, you need to be aware of the importance of each component. Think about the classrooms where you have worked as an intern. Share examples of how these components were addressed. The components in Domain 3, Instruction, are the basic elements of good teaching. Be sure to incorporate differentiation and/or principles of universal design for learning as appropriate. As you know, teaching goes beyond the classroom. Each of the components listed in Domain 4, Professional Responsibilities, should be ongoing practices. Components 4A and 4B are self-explanatory. Let's look at components 4C through 4F and identify examples for each of these components. Observations of your teaching are a great source of evidence when evaluating your teaching performance. Ask your supervisor to use the observation sheet on the next slide during your formal and informal observations. For your professional growth, discuss with your supervisor your performance as evaluated by the Danielson Framework for Teaching. It would be helpful for your supervisor or mentor to have a copy of the Danielson Framework for Teaching Smart Card while observing you teach. You can mark certain components on the Danielson Smart Card that you want the observer to note regarding your teaching performance in this area. Arrange to observe a master teacher. Use the bulleted points on the slide as guidelines during the observation. Identify strategies, differentiation, and use of UDL for each of the 4 domains. Use your smart card to help remember the components. Write notes about any questions you had as you observed the teacher. Think about if you were to teach this lesson, what would you do the same and what would you do differently? Why? Arrange to meet with the teacher and discuss what you observed and any questions you might have. Analyze your observation feedback from your supervisor and mentor. Choose a few components that are related to areas you wish to strengthen. Develop a plan of what you will do to strengthen these areas and how you will measure your progress. School systems are now requiring teachers to develop a professional learning plan addressing current and future professional goals. Using the 4 domains and accompanying components, identify your areas of strength and areas in which you wish to improve. The next 4 slides show a sample professional learning plan that aligns with the Danielson Framework for Teaching, the Council for Exceptional Children Standards, and the Interstate Teacher Assessment and Support Consortium Standards. You may develop a similar PLP to meet your needs as an intern. This is slide 2 of the PLP. This is slide 3 of the PLP, where you highlight the corresponding components of the Danielson framework. This slide shows the CEC initial preparation standards that can be highlighted. The 5th way you can employ the Danielson framework is during your job interviews. Share your understanding of the Danielson framework for teaching. Show observations of your teaching where your supervisor and/or mentor used the Danielson framework for teaching when evaluating your performance. Discuss your areas of strength and those areas you wish to strengthen within the Danielson framework. Share your professional learning plan.